The charges allege that the defendants conspired in 2025 to level war against the state to overpower the president, as the court had earlier fixed April 27 for bail hearings and ordered their remand in DSS custody. As a defendant and is said to be at large, while dozens of other suspects, including military personnel and civilians, have also been arrested and some arraigned before a court-martial in Abuja.
Troops of the 82 Division and Joint Task Force Southeast have apprehended a suspected member of the indigenous people of Biafra and Eastern Security Network and recovered improvised explosive devices during clearance operations in Imo. This is contained in an operational report made available to newsmen today in Abuja. The report said the suspect, identified as a Mr. Onyebuchi Dara, 28, from Etinasa community in Orsu local government area, was arrested at Ehioma Junction following actionable intelligence linked to earlier attacks on security personnel. It added that the suspect had previously benefited from an amnesty program but went underground after reportedly fearing attacks from a suspected armed group leader known as Gentle the Yahoo. The report further revealed that operations in the area were ongoing as part of sustained efforts to degrade hostile networks and restore security in the southeast.
President Bola Tinubu has charged Nigeria's newly appointed ambassadors and high commissioners to improve the country's global image, urging them to pursue foreign investments and strengthen strategic partnerships. The president gave the directive at the opening of an induction course at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja, where he was represented by George Akume, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. He said their appointments reflect the administration's confidence in their ability to advance Nigeria's interests on the international stage, especially at a time of global transformation driven by geopolitical shifts and economic uncertainties. President Tinubu noted that technological disruptions, climate challenges, and emerging security threats continue to reshape the global system, requiring adaptive and forward-looking diplomacy. He urged the envoys to combine traditional diplomacy with digital engagement, public diplomacy, and strategic communication, while projecting Nigeria's achievements under the renewed Hope Agenda.
The federal government of Nigeria has introduced a national textbook ranking system for primary, junior, and senior secondary schools aimed at improving quality assurance and the standardization in the education sector. The Federal Ministry of Education says the initiative will address the proliferation of textbooks and ensure that only high-quality curriculum-compliant materials are approved for use nationwide. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, alongside the Minister of State for Education, Suwaiba Ahmad, said the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council will retain its role of approving textbooks while introducing a structured national ranking process. They noted that only a limited number of top-ranked textbooks will be approved for each subject and level, strengthening quality control and ensuring consistency across schools. The government says the implementation of the policy will begin in September 2026 following stakeholder consultations and completion of the evaluation framework.
As primary and secondary schools resume today for the third term of the 2025-2026 academic session, academic activities have begun in all public and private schools in Ogbomoso zone. A visit by BCS correspondent in Ogbomoso, Aderemu Akamu, to some schools in the zone showed that teachers have started to tend into students in their respective classes. In all the schools visited today, students were seen cleaning their surroundings around 8 a.m., while special prayers were offered seeking divine intervention throughout the new term. Education stakeholders commended the State Governor, Engineer Sheyi Makinde, over his commitment towards development of education across the state, charging other relevant stakeholders in the education sector to support the state government in a bid to achieve goals of standard education. Reacting to reports of attendance in each of the schools in the area, they expressed satisfaction over large turnout of students and commencement of lessons on the first day of resumption.
The United States mission in Nigeria has cautioned Nigerian travelers against visa overstays, warning that such actions could have broader consequences for future applications from the country. In a statement shared via its social media handle, the mission emphasized the strict adherence to U.S. immigration regulations is essential to maintain fair and open access for legitimate travelers. It noted that visa overstays or violations of entry conditions by individuals could negatively affect how applicants from Nigeria are assessed, potentially influencing future visa decisions. The mission added that many Nigerians travel to United States for education, business, tourism, and family engagements, urging travelers to respect visa conditions throughout their stay. It also raised concerns over visa fraud and the misuse of travel documents, calling on the public to help protect the integrity of the immigration system.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. Economic experts have advised the new Finance Minister, Taiwo Oyedele, to prioritize the effective implementation of reforms that will positively impact the average Nigerian and improve living standards. And economists, Dr. Adekunle Onile, and a finance analyst, Comrade Sanjo Akamu, made this known while speaking on the tasks ahead of the new minister on BCS TV's Current Affairs Breakfast Program, AM 120. Our reporter, Olamide Owolabi, reports.
The recent appointment of Taiwo Oyedele as Nigeria's finance minister, following the resignation of his predecessor Wale Edu, has continued to generate reactions from economic stakeholders. Speaking on AM 120, an economist, Dr. Adekunle Onile, noted that the new minister would face intense public scrutiny given the circumstances surrounding the exit of the former minister. He outlined key priorities for the new minister to include tackling rising inflation, strengthening fiscal policies, and ensuring prompt payment to domestic contractors. Dr. Onile added that managing inflation and stabilizing the exchange rate were among the major challenges faced by the former minister.
The new minister, Taiwo, needs to focus more on the which is where many people blame Edun. There's this complaint that especially from the legislature, that they pass so many capital budgets, but less than 30% of that was implemented throughout 2025. Like what the legislator, I may not blame too much, because like I always said, there is no smoke without fire. If something looks unsteady, maybe something is below it that is rocking it. Now, what we heard outside is that he was not releasing the fund for the capital expenditure, despite the fact that the nation had an increase in revenue. But his own defense was that the policy of government was to focus on debt servicing so that we can get out of that doldrum. So he is more interested in channeling money to ensure that we are debt free.
Also speaking, finance analyst Comrade Sanjo Akamu described Taiwo Oyedele as the seasoned expert in revenue generation, but noted that he is assuming office at a challenging time. He referenced concerns surrounding the alleged non-release of funds, which reportedly contributed to the resignation of the former minister. According to him, Oyedele's experience as chairman of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee places a high expectation on his performance. He expressed optimism that the new minister would expand the tax net and drive improved revenue generation.
The Nigerian populace, they have not seen the effects in their homes. Even though when we have fiscal policy, we have reforms it takes some time before those reforms will actually begin to yield results. So the call by the populace is that things are very hard. Things are very tough. So the number one task for the Minister of Finance is to make sure that life becomes better. Prices of goods and services comes down. But I must, at this juncture, point out that the macroeconomic policy is invested in the federal government through Federal Minister of Finance and the CBN. But the microeconomic activities, which will actually translate into better living for ordinary Nigeria, is vested in the state and the local government. We must not forget that fact. That is the area people are actually missing it.
The analyst further stressed the need for stronger synergy between monetary and fiscal authorities, as well as efficient management of revenue distribution to ensure economic stability. Oluyole, BCOS News.
Still on Newscope, we're taking a short commercial break. We'll be back.
Unstoppable you, fueling your vitality the whole day through. Embrace each challenge with renewed might. With Supermalt, your performance takes flight.
With 20 essential vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, one Supermalt multivitamin after breakfast every day keeps you going.
Supermalt, unstoppable you.
Nigeria's First Lady, Oluyole, has unveiled the National Community Food Bank Program in the Northeast during a visit to Maiduguri, Borno State, describing it as a major intervention against hunger and malnutrition. She said the initiative is designed to support children, mothers, and vulnerable groups across the region, adding that it marks the first assignment during a visit to the state and is dedicated to the glory of God. The program, which was previously launched in Abuja on April 3, reportedly attracted pledges exceeding 66 billion naira, with contributions from both public and private sector stakeholders. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Pate, announced that the Aliko Dangote Foundation pledged 20 billion naira over 5 years, while the NNPC Limited committed 10 billion naira within the same period. Other contributions include 500 million naira from the Emeka Hofo Foundation, $500,000 from anonymous donors, and a 17 billion naira special intervention approved by President Bola Tinubu through the Social Action Fund. The initiative is designed to establish community-based food banks across local government areas linked to primary healthcare centers to provide nutritious food through vouchers for malnourished children, pregnant women, and other vulnerable households.
The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has attributed the prevailing peace in the state to effective collaboration and synergy among security agencies. Makinde made this known while receiving members of Syndicate 5 of the Executive Intelligence Management Course 19 who were in the state on a study tour. Details of the event held at the conference hall of the Head of Services Office are presented by Governor's Office correspondent Oluyole Sulaiman.
Addressing members of Syndicate 5 of the Executive Intelligence Management Course 19, Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde, represented by the Secretary to the State Government SSG, Professor Musbau Babatude, said coordinated efforts among security agencies have been instrumental in sustaining peace and safeguarding lives and property across the state. The governor noted that the activities of the ethnic militia have reduced to nearly zero, urging the delegation to engage in field assessment with open minds to verify their claims. He added that the study tour will unravel some dividends of intellectualism and contribute meaningfully to ongoing efforts to address insecurity in the state.
We know we cannot strike when we have an interagency rivalry. So what His Excellency did was to ensure that he brought all the security agencies together, and no cross-cutting. It's not just one particular area, from FRSC to custom to immigration to police to civil defense to Nigerian Air Force to Nigerian Army. We brought all of them together, and that's actually where the Rapid Response Squad that comprises of all the personnel. We have the operation boss that comprises of all the personnel and a whole lot of that. So they work together in synergy as one, and they see themselves that if there's a distress call, it's not I'm not going to wait for APC to get it. We all have the responsibility to secure the state.
Speaking on behalf of the Commandant of the Nigeria Institute of Security Studies, Mr. O.J. Odama, the Director of Studies, Alima Ibrahim, said the theme of this year's course, Ethnic Militia and Resource Competition in Africa, Implication for National Security, reflects the continent's evolving security landscape. He assured that the delegation will engage relevant stakeholders, visit key institutions, and assess developmental initiatives across the state to deepen their understanding of the nexus between governance, resource management, and security.
Proliferation of ethnic militia in many parts of Africa is often linked to perceived marginalization, weak governance structure, youth unemployment, and inequitable distribution of resources. These factors create fertile grounds for conflict, which ultimately threatens the national cohesion and security.
Earlier in his remarks, the Executive Assistant to Governor Seyi Makinde on Security Corporation, Major General Lukman Omaniyi, retired, wished the delegates a fruitful and rewarding stay in Oluyole State, noting that the state has consistently placed a premium on intellectual development. Olalekan Sulaiman, BCS News.
Children have been encouraged to grow in the knowledge of God and uphold godly values as the Christ Apostolic Church, CAC, Okeye Salu, District Headquarters, it is saying, celebrated its children's anniversary. The event, themed Children Belong to God, emphasized the spiritual upbringing and moral development of young ones. Our reporter, Folashade Akintola, has the details.
It was a colorful and spiritual uplifting gathering at the Christ Apostolic Church, Okeye, Isalu District Headquarters in Iseyin, as children took center stage during this year's Children's Anniversary celebration. The event featured Bible recitations, cultural dance displays, and news presentation by the children, all highlighting their talents and spiritual growth. Delivering the sermon, Reverend Father Martins Badejo underscores the importance of raising children in the fear of God. Speaking on the topic, nurturing them to grow in the Word of God, he described parenting as a divine responsibility that requires dedication, patience, and consistent guidance.
It is our duty, the faith we carry, and we know that we make the and we live with it.
In his remarks, the chairman of the occasion, Elder Folorunso Amos, urged both parents and children to continually walk in the ways of the Lord. He encouraged them to reflect Christ-like values and remain thankful to God at all times.
They should continue to grow in the ways of the Lord. They should continue to propagate the Christ life so that the other people who are around or within their environment or locality themselves, they can turn to God.
Other guest speakers also advised the children to stay focused and avoid negative influence and remain committed to both their education and faith.
they should learn from the word of God according to the topic. The word of God said, teach your child in the way of the Lord, so that when they grow up, they will not depart from it.
I'm only advise the children to shun all activities, all out of disobedience to the parents, all form of nonsense activities in the community. So to act in God manner.
The fatherly and motherly advice that I can give them is to respect their parents and whoever be in their community, then to behave like the children of God.
In a welcome address, the children expressed appreciation to guests for their presence and support while also seeking continual guidance from parents and the church. The celebration, beyond its festive atmospheres, serves as a reminder of the shared responsibility of families and the church in raising a morally sound and godly generations. Folashade Akintola, BCS News.
And on the foreign scene, at least 42 people have been killed and 10 injured in fighting between rival ethnic groups in eastern Chad, and a conflict that began as a dispute over a water well, according to Deputy Prime Minister Lemane Mahamat. Mahamat confirmed the total killed during a visit today to the village of Egote. It is in Wadi Fira province, near the Sudanese border, where the violence started on Saturday. He said 10 others were injured and transferred to a provincial health center for treatment. Mahamat said the violence spread across a wide as retaliatory attacks intensified, prompting the army to intervene. He added that a swift response by security forces helped contain the unrest, and the situation is now under control. Authorities have launched a customary mediation process in the village and opened judicial proceedings to establish criminal responsibility. Intercommunal clashes linked to competition over land and water are common in Chad.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the main points. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered an accelerated hearing in the trial of 6 suspects accused of plotting to overthrow President Bola Tinubu's administration, with Justice Joyce Abdulmalik invoking a speedy trial procedure and fixing April 29, April 30, May 4 and May 5 for proceedings.
The United States Mission in Nigeria has cautioned Nigerian travelers against visa overstays, warning that such actions could have broader consequences for future applicants from the country.
The Oyo State Governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has attributed the prevailing peace in the state to effective collaboration and synergy among security agencies.
And on the foreign scene, at least 42 people have been killed and 10 injured in fighting between rival ethnic groups in eastern Chad, and a conflict that began as a dispute over a water well, according to Deputy Prime Minister Lemane Mahamat.
That's all from Newscope Desk for now. It was packaged by Moromoke Adewale and delivered by Buluwaji Ogumola.
I am Oluyole. Oladiposan, thanks for listening, and don't forget to stay tuned as I bring you the Yoruba version at 8 o'clock later this evening. Good evening.
Oluyole 98.5 FM 98.5 FM.
I am malaria, the king of malaria parasites. My mission is simple: to take over your body, to cause fever, chills, headache. But one thing stands in my way. Come on, come on.
Effective relief from malaria. Comal on, malaria gone. If symptoms persist after 3 days, consult doctor.
rédíò tí ó láfiwé Olúyọ̀lé FM àwa ni bàbá.
ọ̀pọ̀ ti sún ó ṣẹ̀dẹ̀ rí bó ṣe wá mọ́lẹ̀ kedere fẹ́ni tó ti gbọ́ kó sọ fẹ́ni tí ò gbọ́ PCOS bàbá wa làgbà adìyẹ ẹṣin tó ṣíwájú ó ti gbà pò kíní náà tó bá fẹ́ polówó ọjà kájé bùgbàjẹ́ kàn sí wa ní room 2 tó fi dé room 6 commercial department PCOS ilé akéde ẹ wúra wọ PCOS ọpọ́n ti sún ó fakọyọ ó tún clear gan PCOS ọpọ́n ti sún wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ ó tún mọ́lẹ̀ kedere àní right now PCOS ọpọ́n ti sún ó fakọyọ ó tún clean gan nísẹ̀yìn PCOS ọpọ́n ti sún wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ ó tún mọ́lẹ̀ kedere gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń lọ tiwa Oluyole 88.5 Agilete 92.5 lókè ògùn 96.3 FM gbogbo yín pátá la kí àti ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́ bá wa dòwò pọ̀ oṣù ọ̀ ẹ máa rí tajẹ́ ṣe o TS Charity ẹ wòrà wò yí o PCOS ọpọ́n ti sùn ó fakọyọ ó tún clean gan PCOS ọpọ́n ti sùn o wọ́n ṣe bẹ̀bẹ̀ ó tún mọ́lẹ̀ kedere. TS Charity ẹni fẹ́ ṣàríyá o gbogbo ẹni fẹ́ ṣàjọ̀dún àbẹ́ni fẹ́ ṣèpàdé o gbogbo ẹni fẹ́ ṣènáwó PCOS background òun yẹn máa bọ̀ PCOS background òun ló kájọ ẹ̀ fún gbogbo ayẹyẹ èyí tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣe PCOS background òun yẹn máa bọ̀ o.
bóyá wá gbé mi débẹ̀ yóò
ilé akéde
bóyá wá gbé mi débẹ̀ yóò
PCOS background. PCOS background níbi tílẹ̀ ti tẹ́jú àyè ìgbọ́kọ̀sí ń bẹ ìyẹn kọjá burata PCOS background ìyẹn nílé akéde oríta Báṣọ̀run nílùú Ìbàdàn PCOS background òun yẹn máa bọ̀ o. ohun tá à ń sọ ni pé fọ́nírúurú ayẹyẹ tẹ́yìn bá fẹ́ ṣe ó ti wù kó fẹjú tó PCOS event grand òun ló kájú ẹ̀ òun ló káàtó ṣókùn àgbà lẹ́yìn fẹ́ ṣe ni tàbí ìgbéyàwó tàbí birthday tàbí open year crusade ó sì jẹ́ book launch ní tiyín ni ẹ máa bọ̀ ẹ̀yẹ sáti kàn sí wa ní yàrá kẹrin commercial department PCOS ilé akéde tàbí kẹ́ ẹ pè sórí PCOS customer care line